Hi friends, welcome to Knowledge Share. Today we are gonna see how we can power automate Microsoft Teams creation using SharePoint Forms. I think many of you have experience in using Power Automate, and I'm not sure about SharePoint Forms, whether you guys have heard about SharePoint Forms or not, but SharePoint Forms are the latest features added to SharePoint List, where you can design the form like Microsoft Forms. So the UI which will be same like Microsoft Forms, but you can use the fields from a SharePoint list. So here I have used Power Automate, where whenever an item is added using the SharePoint Forms, automatically it will trigger the Power Automate, and it will do some validations and other business logics, and then it will create the teams. One more thing what I have done is I'm not only creating the teams, I'm also adding the owners, members, and also I am just creating the folder structure based on the selection of the type. There are so many business case scenarios where we can create teams. Recently I have faced one scenario like what if in order to maintain a project we need a teams where each project which has different technology, different business areas, but the documents maintaining the projects will be different. So here the main use case scenario is once the project is created, we have to create the teams, and based on the project type we have to create the folder structure. So let us see how it can be done. So before going to the demo and the Power Automate, let us see the flow of the Power Automate. So this is the full flow, a complete flow of the Power Automate, where the first thing is when an item is created, the flow will trigger. So once the item is created, so it will be in a submitted stage automatically. Next, once the flow starts, the status will be updated to in progress, and we will be using some variables. So we will be using some variables for storing the team name, for storing the owners, members, and also for storing the folder structure. So those variables we have to initialize. And next is the validation of the team. Here what we are going to do is we are going to validate whether the team name already exists or not. There may be a chance they can give the same name. Anyway, I have implemented the validation to check the team name. Next is once the validation is done, we will be using the team's actions to create the team, followed by adding the owners and members. And then and at last what we are doing is we are just setting up the folder structure inside the team's general channel, and then we are updating the status to completed. So this is the entire flow. So let us see it in action now. As you can see, this is the form which I will be using to create the teams. So the design, it looks exactly like Microsoft Forms, but this form is created using the SharePoint list. Let me go to the SharePoint list. This is the SharePoint list. I named the list as projects. So there are few fields which I am using. Title, this will be the project title, and also the team name which I will be using to create it. Description, project description. Owners, which is a person or group column which allows only people, and it is a multiple selection. And members, same multiple selection. Project type, here I have two types, MS or TS. Based on the type, the folder structures will be created inside the general channel. And status, it has submitted, in progress, completed, and error. So if there are any error, then I will report the status as error, and I will just display the message, error message. That's it. So as I already mentioned, this forms menu is the new feature released recently. So you can design the same appearance, look and feel of Microsoft Form using this feature. So when you click on it, you can create a new form. So this is the form which I have already created, and I haven't used this status or message field. So whatever the fields you required, you can choose it, and you can change the name. If you want to give any description for each field, you can give it, and form title and some descriptions regarding the form. And the last thing what you can do is you can choose the theme, and you can display confirmation message once the form is submitted. And at any point of time, you can even uncheck the accept response, so that whenever, even though they have the URL to the form, it won't be allowing them to add the response. And when you click on preview, it will open the form, and you can also use the link and then send it to. So the other security permissions, everything will follow Microsoft SharePoint list. So using this link, if anyone who doesn't have permission to the SharePoint list cannot create an item. So it's like same permission, same functionality. So whenever they click add new item, so who has the permission to create an item, instead of using the default form, you're just using the features, forms feature, to customize the look and feel of the form. That is the only difference. So let me add an item, and before that, let me navigate to the Teams channel. Sorry, my Microsoft Teams. So let me refresh the Teams so that I can show you whatever the teams I am having. So if you see here, these are all the teams which I have access. Okay, let us use the form and then create. So we have until project 5. So now let us create project 6. I'll just give a title and some description about the project. So owners, I will try to add some owners. So currently I have added 2 owners. So members, let me add a few of them. So I have added 4 members and owners, 2 owners, and I'm going to choose MS or TS, whichever. So each type has a different folder structures. So I'll choose MS and I will submit the form. So the form has been submitted, and now if you refresh the list, so you can see the form is submitted. So it is in the submitted stage. So now let us see whether the Power Automate is triggered or not. So it will take some time to trigger. So maybe once it is triggered, then we will see it ran or not. I think it's taking long. Maybe I will pause the video and then I will resume it when it is on. Okay, here we go. So the workflow started. So now it is running. So it will take at least a minute to complete the task. So meanwhile, let us see what are all the actions and how I have configured the Power Automate. So as I said, the triggering point is when an item is created. So this is my SharePoint site, and this is the projects list. So whenever an item is created, the first thing what I am doing is I am just changing the status from submitted to in progress. So since it is running, so when you refresh this list, you can see that it is changed to in progress. This is the first action. Next is trimming the team name. So if you see, I have given the team name as project space 6. If you see the SharePoint site, each teams is associated with a SharePoint site. So if you see the SharePoint site name, it will be trimmed. The actual team name will remain the same, but the SharePoint site name will be trimmed without spaces. So once it is trimmed, then I am storing it in a variable called team site name. And this variable is for getting the final folder list. So since we have multiple project type, each has a different folder structure. Based on that, I will be storing the multiple folders list in this variable. And this is a comma separated string value, which I will be splitting it, and then I will be creating the folders. The next variable is to store the owners, which is an array variable, and likewise to store the members. That is also an array variable. The next action is, in order to validate the teams, first I am trying to get all the teams whichever is available. So once all the teams information is available, then I am just filtering it using the filter array action, passing the output from the teams list, and then checking the team name is equal to the title, that is a team name which it's supposed to create. So I'm just checking the title. So once it is filtered, I'm just checking the filter array length. If it is less than or equal to 0, then proceed with the team creation. Else, report the status as error and then send a message as team already exists. So if you give the same team name, so it won't be created again. There will be an error status and then the message will be updated. So if it is successful, I'm just using the create team action, passing in the title and description, and here I'm just creating the teams mode as public. So there are two modes, whether you can create a private teams or a public teams. So here I'm using it to create a public teams. And the next action is apply to each, where I am just iterating through the owners and then adding the owners to the new team. So here if you see the team name, here I am passing the team ID from the create a team action. For owners users, I am just splitting the owners claim and I am just passing the email ID, which is the login name. I'm just passing those information alone. Next is likewise adding the members to the team. So here this action is called add members action, where I'm just passing in the team ID. So there is one more option called set user as a team owner. So I'm using the same action for members. Instead here I am just giving it as a no or empty for set user as team owner. If you put it as yes, then that user will be added as a owner to the team. If you didn't give anything, then it will be added as the user will be added as a member. That's it. Next is set the folders list based on the project type. So this based on the project type selected, whether it is an MS or TS, I am just setting the final folders list. So here if you see, if it is an MS, I will create MS folder 1, 2, 3, and then inside the folder 1 I am just creating folder 1. So likewise you can create the folder structure, and the same goes for TS folder. So based on the type I am just assigning these values inside the final folders list variable. The next action is to delay, because the team will be created soon, but the SharePoint site, it will take some time to create it, and then it will take some time for us to available to access via Power Automate. So that is the reason I have used a delay action. So I'm just waiting for 30 seconds and then I'm trying to access the site. So basically when a Teams is created, so for example, so if you see here our project is created, so I won't go here. So I'll just explain you what is the process. When a Teams is created, even though the sites are created, the folders, it won't be created until you navigate to the Files tab. The moment you navigate to the Files tab, automatically the folders will be created. So usually for each channel, a different folders will be created inside the shared documents. So that folder will be created only when you access the Files tab. So to make it automatic, what I am doing is I am just creating a dummy file and then I am just adding the file to the folder path shared documents general. What it does is it will create a folder general and then it will upload this dummy file.txt, and this is a content. That's it. So by doing this, automatically we are creating the general folder. So this is how you can create the channel folders without manual interaction. So this is how you can create it automatically. And next is, I am just splitting the final folders list with a comma, and then I am just creating the folder, just passing in the splitted string with a folder path general, so that it will automatically create the relevant folder structure. And once these folders are created, there is no need for the dummy file to exist. So once the file is created, right, this create file action will return an ID of the file. The same ID we can use it to delete the file. I'm just deleting the dummy file, and the final action is I'm just updating the status to completed. So since our power flow is completed, if you see here, when you refresh this projects list, so you can see it is completed, and our project team is created. And when you go here, so usually it will take time to refresh it. So that is the reason I'll be reloading the tab. Okay, let it reload. So I'll just show the team members. So if you see here, for this project 6, we gave the owners as Grady and Henrietta. And if you see, Grady and Henrietta is added as owner. Since the Power Automate is running under my connection, so my credential is given as a connection for the Power Automate. So it will add the flow owner as a owner. So that is the reason you can see my name here. And if you see the members, you can see Adelaide, Lee, Alex and Megan, and you can see the members here. And let us just navigate to the folders, and you can see the folders are created, and inside the MS folder 1 I have created folders. So whatever the folder structure you have given, it is automatically created. That's it. So I hope you had learned something new, and this is how you can automate the team's creation using the forms. So here I have used SharePoint Forms, and you can do a lot of things here, like you can just embed the form inside the Teams tab, and without navigating to the form URL separately on a browser, the user can do everything inside the Teams. So they can just create the item and they can just check the status, and maybe once the Teams is created, you can also send an email to the owner, whoever has created the Teams. So these are all some enhancements you can use here to enhance your business process. Thank you guys. So I hope I have shared some new information to create and how you can automate the Teams creation. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you really think you can learn something from my videos. Please like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to release more unique features or more unique methods of creating or automating the business process in future videos. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your time. Cheers.